everyone, welcome back to the Maternity Diary. And as you can see, I have this very missed face in this video today. Last he was here, we spoke about how I had my very first swimming lesson in a fish pond. But don't worry, today we are not going to talk about that. We are talking about something that is highly educative. So we want to talk about something that is really important right now, and it's something that is on the horizon. And the question is, why is ADHD diagnosis so high these days, especially in the West? Great thing is I'm not tackling this alone. I'm doing this with our very own and someone so special to me, my father, who is a licensed counseling psychologist with decades of experience working with children and families and individuals. So he's going to be here to give us his knowledge on what ADHD is and everything we need to know about ADHD. So thanks, Daddy, for being here. His name is, I didn't even say his name. His name is Professor Samuel Oheneba-Donyo, and from the name and from what I've said already, you know that he's my dad, and he's not a new face to this channel. He's here once again to enlighten us on this topic. So I would quickly hand over to him for him to say hello to you guys, and then we get started.
Hi. I welcome you to our show this morning and want to thank you, my darling daughter, for the opportunity to be able to share on your platform today. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Daddy. Welcome again, and thanks for joining us on this topic. Okay, so first off, Daddy, I want to ask, for those who might not be too familiar, can you briefly explain what ADHD is?
Okay, so ADHD is simply an abbreviation for Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder. Attention Deficit Hyperactivity means a person has a hard time paying attention, sitting still, or controlling their actions, especially in situations where they are expected to focus or to stay calm. It's often called ADHD, and it shows up as being easily distracted, struggling to sit still or stay quiet, or acting without thinking. That is what we'll refer to as impulsive thinking. ADHD is most common in children, but can continue into adulthood. It is not about being lazy or naughty, as some people may perceive it, but it's about how the brain works. And with the right support, people with ADHD can thrive. To make it easier for parents and for children to be able to understand, I will explain this to parents. ADHD is like having a brain that always is on the go. Your child may find it hard to focus, to stay still or sit still with their turn. Not because they are being bad, but because their brain is wired differently. Think of it like having a powerful engine, but weak brakes. They may need more help learning how to slow down, stay on the task, control their impulses. With understanding, structure, and support, children with ADHD can do very well. Now, to explain it even to the children who don't really understand what is going on, you can tell them that ADHD means that your brain is like a racing car that is super fast and full of energy. But sometimes it is hard for your brain to stop or to slow down when it needs to. And that is why you might forget things, get distracted, or feel like jumping around when others are sitting still. But you should know that this is not your fault. It's not because you just want to disturb or you want to be naughty. No, it just means that your brain needs a bit of extra help in order to stay on track. And with support, You can learn how to use your brain's power in a very great way. So, briefly put, this is what we can describe the attention deficit hyperactivity.
Oh, thank you so much for that explanation. And I like that you explained it to parents and then you also explained to children, because the way children perceive things is completely different from parents, and this is amazing. It's an amazing definition that we can use even for our children. So I know, like in the 90s or several years ago, there wasn't a rise in ADHD diagnosis, and you would find that some kids would have some issues and they are branded as being very stubborn, or this is a very naughty child, or the child is not smart, like brilliant in school. And that is something that, like, from the description that you gave, I'm beginning to realize that most likely in the 90s and the 80s, there were so many people that were struggling from it, especially even kids, and they were branded as some of these things. And it's really insightful to me to know that this was something that, if maybe at that time there was awareness about things like ADHD and other disorders, we parents and teachers or educators might have been more calm towards some of these children instead of beating them, spanking them to do the right thing. Yeah, so it's really nice to hear that.
Yeah.
Next, I want to ask, can you explain, because you did make mention of the word neurodevelopment. So I want to know, what is neurodevelopment and why does it matter?
Okay, thank you very much, Teresa. ADHD is actually a neurodevelopmental disorder. So we would need to understand what neurodevelopment actually means. Neurodevelopment simply has to do with a child's brain and nervous system, how it grows and how it develops over time. And usually the development of the brain starts from pregnancy and continues through childhood into the teenage years. So this development actually affects how children think, how they learn, how they move, how they manage emotions, and how they interact with others. So this is briefly put what neurodevelopment is. But we cannot say that because a child is easily distracted or struggles to still sit still or stay quiet or is acting without impulses, he is necessarily having a disorder.
Yeah.
It might not necessarily be a disorder unless these symptoms continue for more than a certain period, usually 2 months onwards. If it is constantly observed that is the pattern of this particular child, then we might begin to consider it differently from just a normal development issue.
Oh, wow, awesome. So apart from ADHD, are there other examples of neurodevelopmental disorders that we can talk about?
Yes. We have things like autism, ADHD itself. We have learning difficulties or intellectual disabilities. These conditions show up differently in each child. So no two cases are exactly the same.
Awesome. Thank you. So in most recent years, like I mentioned at the beginning, we've seen a huge rise in ADHD diagnosis, especially in the Western world. So I really want to understand, why do you think this is the case? Is there something going on that we don't know?
Yes, that's simply because people are more aware of these issues or this ADHD now. The definition has become broader, and we have better tools also to detect it. But other things also play a role. Things such as genetics, exposure to certain drugs, alcohol, cigarettes, during pregnancy, and even sometimes certain emotional challenges, some anxieties that people maybe have, some trauma that people may experience while during the time of parturition or during the time of pregnancy. We also have when people spend too much time on the screen, watching television or movies, sitting there and eating, and not even having enough physical activity or sedentary life. Sometimes even sleep problems can all contribute to these ADHD difficulties. And the awareness is now with us more than ever before.
Wow. Like something you just said struck me. That's too much screen time. And these days, like in the olden days, like I'll say, not that I'm very old, most of the time we are outdoors playing, engaging with other kids in the park. And then these days you would find kids spending more time on the screen, and sometimes they look like zombies like this on the screen, and they are not doing anything except looking at the screen. Sometimes they don't even like swipe to even change it because they are so glued to the screen. And it's really interesting that you mentioned that, and as parents, educators, this is something we really need to look out for, because most of the time sometimes we are busy doing something, and because we want to be able to focus, we quickly push our children, go watch something on on the screen, on the tablet, on the iPad, on TV, just so that we can get things done. But we are actually potentially increasing like the possibility of a child developing ADHD. So that's really amazing. Thanks for sharing that, Prof. Okay, so now here's the question I have, and before the question I want to say this. So I have a friend who shared this with me. She mentioned to me that her first grader went to school, and in the first term, and the first grader is a very shy child and takes time to open up to people. She's always, unless she's home, if he's home, he's playing around, jumping around, doing things. But as soon as he's in a crowded space or in a different environment, he tends to wind down. And she said prior to even first grade, she had gone somewhere with her child to stay for a couple of weeks with some new people, and the child wasn't talking as much, and some of her friends were like, have you attempted going to see a pediatrician? Maybe your child has this issue or that issue. But she ignored it because she knew that when the child is with her and with the family and people they are familiar with, they are more open, more lively. But the moment other people come in, they are more to themselves. They keep to themselves and take time to warm up. So anyway, fast forward to first grade. This child goes to school. In the first term, during the reports, the teacher says, I think your child might have ADHD or something close to that. And she was like, have you considered trying to go to a pediatrician? And she asked why. And she said, oh, your child fidgets a lot and doesn't really focus on work that needs to be done. And she was complaining a lot. So she decided, and the teacher was trying to push her more to go seek that. But because she knows her child very well, she decided to wait for some time. And by the second term, during the PTA, the teacher says, oh my God, your child is doing amazing. And I probably could have been wrong, like at the beginning. And even the teacher accepted that, you know what, there are kids that are late bloomers, but some teachers and educators miss that and quickly want the child to pick up immediately. But some are late bloomers, and when they actually start to do well, they even do way better than even the kids that probably started earlier. So the question is it possible that some children are being misdiagnosed, and why is this?
Well, there are several psychological conditions or problems that exhibit the same symptoms. Yes, the same symptoms. Sometimes children are just developing at their own pace, but people may rush to label them. And occasionally, the diagnosis might be influenced by teachers or parents who are very concerned and worried because they simply cannot understand why the child is what the child is. Yeah. But this is why there is a need for proper, thorough assessment. Yeah. And this is very important. One cannot just stand or sit somewhere, go on the net, read certain things, and just come out with a simple rule or diagnosis that a child is having this condition. In our clinic, we have had a lot of people coming off late and saying, I have read somewhere that I have an ADHD and I want you to check and see if I have. We have run tests, done the assessments, and they don't have ADHD. Maybe they are exhibiting the symptoms for another disorder or another condition. And we have helped them. We have helped them to heal, but most of them are so gratified that they don't have ADHD initially as they thought. There are a lot of clinics also or other potential professionals who are also misdiagnosing because they rush too quickly, you know. And the thing is that psychotropic medications are very good but dangerous. Once you are diagnosed with some of these conditions and placed on a psychotropic medication, you have to be on it for the rest of your life. Anytime you stop, you relapse. And so we have to be very careful that we go to the right people, the right professionals who are trained to be able to diagnose and assess these conditions and to come out with the right interventions without running to come out with certain conclusions. That is not allowed in mental health.
Wow. That is great to know. Interesting. So, what can be done for children who have ADHD or some of these other neurodevelopment problems? Is there something that can be done for them, or is all hope lost?
Well, it has to start from a place of truly understanding what neurodevelopment is. And once this understanding is achieved, it can be used to give the right support to the child. The right support such as extra help to train the brain, to help the child to stay on track, to be able to sit still. This support can help them to learn how to use their brain's power in a very great way, so that there will be no need for mislabeling of the child, but what actually the condition is. Once we are able to understand the problem or the situation, we are able to also intervene or help.
Wow, this has been such an eye-opening conversation. Is there any last words, anything you would like to say out to educators, parents, or even children? Is there anything you'd like to share with them?
Well, I want to say that there is no condition, there are no symptoms that do not have or that defy explanation. The Diagnostic and Statistical Manual 5 explains or tries to help us understand a lot of these conditions. And once a person is trained in using these tools, if you go to them, they are able to assist or help. There is always hope. There is hope for every situation. If it is realized early and interventions are put in place, solution becomes quicker than waiting for too long, because the situation can degenerate into something else. So I want to encourage you that hope is not lost. There is so much hope. Just go for the professional, look for them, and they will be able to assist you get over these situations that either looks like ADHD or is actually an ADHD.
Wow, thank you so much, Daddy. Thank you so much for sharing your insights. And it is clear that ADHD and childhood behavior in general takes patience, takes a lot of knowledge and a lot of compassion. So tell me in the comment section, what do you understand by ADHD? Do you understand what it is now? Say it in the comment section. Give me a phrase for how you understand ADHD. Have you had any experience with regards to this where your child almost misdiagnosed, or what happened? Do you have any experience at all? Please share it in the comment section. If you have any questions also concerning what we have discussed today and anything even in relation, not necessarily ADHD, please go ahead, put it in the comment section, and Prof, my dad, will be willing and excited to answer those questions. And this is something that people pay for. You pay lots of dollars for, so you are getting it for free. So you should be grateful to us for bringing this to you for nothing. So please go ahead and ask your questions. A lot of you send me DMs also. Feel free to do that, and we will answer all questions that you may have around this topic.
Hello, Ghana. Introducing Ghana's first University of Counseling, Donyo University College of Counseling Psychology. You ready for your Masters in Counseling? Yes, we are ready for you. We offer 1-year master's degree in counseling, 52 weeks executive certificate in counseling, 8-week certificate courses, admission. Yes, register today and become one of the best counselors in the world. We are accredited to GTEC, Ghana Psychology Council, affiliated to Trinity Theological Seminary, Legon. We have study options available, virtual and in-person, regular and evening, full-time and part-time. In this world of AI, counseling is the best option to heal a hurting well. Call us today, 0244 655188, and register now. We are located at Hatcho Atomic Road near Academic City, or Donyo University College of Counseling and Psychology. Register now. www.ccp.edu.gh. See you there.
So to you watching, what are your thoughts in general about this? Do you think it's being misunderstood maybe? Or do we now know more? Let's speak in the comment section. If you found this video to be helpful, don't forget to subscribe. Please subscribe. Like the videos. Liking the videos and commenting actually help us to push this video out to more people. That's how the algorithm works. I didn't create it. It's the YouTube algorithm. So please help us to push it by just liking, by just commenting, and by subscribing. And most importantly, share with someone who might need this today. You might think that someone may not need it, but you share it and it will surprise you how helpful this might be to people that you love and you cherish. So until next time, thank you so much for being here, Daddy.
That's my baby.
Thank you. Until next time, don't forget to stay happy, stay healthy, and stay beautiful. And never ever forget that God loves you. See you next time on the Maternity Diary. Bye.
Live my life like it's my last day. Live my life like it's my last day. So I'm gonna live.